Typical middle school sounds, right? Hey, good evening, everybody. Chris Starchescu, Unlock the Middle. I am the proud principal of Dudley Middle School in Dudley Charlton Regional School District up here in Massachusetts. We've got some guests from around the country to talk about principal's office hours tonight. Co-host down in the bottom right corner, Josh Tovar, MPA Jaguars. How are you tonight, my friend?
I'm doing fabulous, Chris. Ready to rock and roll. Josh Tovar, proud principal of Memorial Pathway Academy in Garland, USA. Garland ISD, ready to rock and roll for the next 20 minutes. If you're listening to us right now, like and share. And if you're doing the replay, please make sure that you like and share because we're ready to rock and roll. And most importantly, learn from each other. Doesn't matter where you're at, whether it be Alaska or Hawaii, whether it be Maine or Florida, or in the middle 48, we're ready to learn and get stronger together. What do you think about that there, Chris?
I think it's awesome because that's why we started this platform. Dean Packard is out on the basketball court tonight. He's my co-host, co-creator of Unlock the Middle. He'll be tuning in later and checking this out on replay. But let's get some introductions ready. We only got 20 minutes tonight. This is a quick hit office hours segment. Shawn Mena is joining us for the very first time. She's coming to us from down in New Mexico. Shawn, how are you? And let everybody know who you are, what you do, and why you're here.
I'm Shawn Mena, and thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm the proud principal at Camino Real Middle School in Las Cruces, New Mexico. I recently retired from El Paso, and just as soon as we retire, we hop the state, and then we start working again. And so that's exactly what I'm doing. It's my third week on the middle school level. Before that, I was a principal of a high school and have always been either on the high school or collegiate level. So this is a brand new experience for me. And I mentioned earlier that I've never worked with little kids. And so that got some laughter because I guess principals in middle schools don't see them as little. But when you come from the high school down, it definitely seems a little bit smaller. So it's been a great experience and I look forward to tonight.
Thank you so much for joining us, Shawn. And again, I was the one who chuckled earlier because on some days I'm the smallest guy in the hallway with some of our 8th grade behemoths. Dr. Odom, how are you this evening?
Doing well. Thank you for having me. Kim Odom, proud principal of Independence Elementary School in Rock Hill School District 3. I'm excited to jump into some great conversation this evening.
Awesome. So happy that you're back on screen with us. Dr. Dru Tomlin, how are things for you, my friend?
Hey. Dru Tomlin here at Heritage Middle School in Westerville City Schools, suburb of Columbus, Ohio, OHIO, and excited to join the team today in this awesome conversation. So honored as always to be a part of it. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Josh, can you take the first intro here? First question.
All right, here we go. Very simple. 2 quick questions. Very controversial topics about to hit everybody. Apple or Android? Mena.
Apple.
Why?
I think it's easier to work. So
Dru.
I like it better.
Dru.
BlackBerry. Was that a choice? That's what I used to have back in the day. Palm Pilot, BlackBerry, and then Apple.
All right, Dru. You got us with that one. Love it. Doc, brand new Doc. What do you think?
Apple, all the way. Apple. I actually just told my assistant principal today I hate it when I'm texting one and it's green. I need the blue.
Up there in Massachusetts, what is it?
Well, I got to say, I've got a great story about the Palm Pilot and then the BlackBerry and then the transition I had to make to the iPhone. But I won't get into all of it. I got to tell you, I'm an iPhone guy through and through. The Apple, it just is super powerful and perfect for me.
Sorry, guys, the answer is Android. That is the only answer out there. We do not drink the juice. We do not do the juice here in this state at all. All right, next one. Ready? Another thought-provoking question real quick. Dru, coming to you. Star Trek or Star Wars?
Oh, Star Wars all day long.
Why?
Because I saw the original Star Wars 14 times with my dad in the theater. New Hope all day long. Star Wars, may the force be with you.
Kimberly.
So I was never really into sci-fi types of movies, television shows, but in honor of the passing of Michelle Nichols, I will go with Star Trek.
Yeah, that's why I asked the question, Doc. Great minds think alike. That's why I asked it. Out in Las Cruces / El Paso.
So I'm like Dr. Odom. I also am not a sci-fi person, and so I'm going to have to go Star Wars because it's the only one I've seen, and so that's why. And I enjoyed it, but I'm just not a big follower.
All right, Chris, what's the answer?
The short answer is gonna be Star Wars, but the conflicted answer would have to be Star Trek. Yeah, that's all. He's got a lightsaber in his office. That's awesome. I have a
Drew.
picture and a statue of Darth Vader in mine, which is just so funny. That takes the cake, though. Yeah, I got to go Star Wars, but the conflicted response would push me towards Star Trek because of an experience I had back in middle school. Young lady I was dating, her mom had dated one of the co-creators of Star Trek, so I learned a lot about Star Trek back in the day. But that's history. So anyway, let's
Well,
get. What do you
hold
think,
on.
Josh?
Hold on. The answer is Star Trek, in honor of Uhura, in honor of Gene Roddenberry from El Paso, but also broke so many racial stereotypes on
Truth.
TV, and in honor of Captain James T. Kirk's horrible acting. The answer is Star Trek, my friend. What do you think about that, Chris?
I think you're spot on. I think that first interracial kiss on TV may have set the standard for where we're supposed to be across the board. And there are some who seem to forget what that standard needs to be. Hey, I just wanted to give a shout out to a few of our guests out there who have been chiming in the chat, Josh. We've had Janine Wilkins from Alaska joining in tonight, Roz Gaskins and Shaka Houston checking us out and sharing some ideas. If you're out there watching live, please go ahead and hit the chat button and let us know what you're thinking about our topics, or just the fact that you absolutely love all five of us on the screen. We have, we need that little bit of love. Well, hey, let's get down to it. We're about 7 minutes in. It's fantastic that we've got some great representation on the screen. We've got experience on the screen. The topic tonight, we want to go ahead and hit the largest classroom in the building, in the school, is our cafeteria. How do you go about addressing cleanliness and responsibility to help that environment be healthy and smart as kids move? Let's kick it up to Dr. Tomlin. I saw you nod your head first up there.
Yeah, sure. Well, I always think about this topic in terms of, I use the terms macro and micro, right? So there are macro structures and systems that, you need to have in place, right? To make sure that your cafeteria is orderly and that kind of stuff. So making sure that your processes and that your schedule is clean and clear and is well understood by everybody. And then it's also part of your PBIS program, and that you teach those expected behaviors and practice those expected behaviors. Because middle school kids, as we know, if you give them a little too much freedom, a little bit too much independence, and that's where sometimes they can take it wrong unless you teach them. And then the micro is that daily opportunity, those daily experiences, those daily touch points that you reiterate, build those relationships, circulate, and just, and it's about the adult modeling as well. So we're not raising our voices to make sure those expectations are followed, because if we raise our voices too much, then they'll raise their voices too much. So again, that's where I'm at with it.
Awesome. Shawn.
So we're in week 3 of school, and I will say that coming back from the pandemic, and I know we had last year, but everything kind of relaxed last year, and I think that was nationwide. So what we saw was an increase, of course, of discipline issues and kids believing that they can do whatever they want to do, and a real lack of structures. And I think that's probably educationally the truth nationwide. And I think this year everybody's like, let's get back to structures. Let's get back to doing what we need to do. And so when we rolled out this year, we were very clear. One of the things I did do is I met with every single class. So we did 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, and we had informational meetings with them when school came back out, and we laid out the expectations. You will pick up after yourself. yourself. You will not vape, you will not fight, those types of things. And then we did a student success agreement that included the cafeteria on it. And I think that's been helpful. And then I think the other structure that's really important is visibility. And so I'm at a school that has about 980 kids in it. And so it's myself and two other APs that run that, are the administration. And then I've got about 4 or 5 other people. And at lunch, we've got about 7 people there, and we're visible in that cafeteria. We don't miss that time period at all. And so we're walking around talking to kid. I also have both my counselors in there so that they can really get their eyes on the kids. I think that's helpful at lunch as well, because if you've got a kid, having a great time at lunch and then in your office crying, saying, I can't go to class, we're like, well, we just saw you happy. So now we're confused. And so that's helped as well. And so we've just established some protocols for them, and it's been great so far. The very first few days, we really had to re-emphasize our structures. And then once we got them going, the kids have done a really great job. So I've been very impressed. But it is, I think, about visibility. Lots of adults, lots of kids can go and talk to you and be touched by you. And I think that's what's important.
Outstanding. Thank you, Shawn. Kimberly.
So I want to make sure I touch on all the parts of your questions, because at first when you were talking, I was thinking you were discussing the physical cleanliness, but you're referring more or less to the structure, or both?
Yeah, everything about the calf. Think about those lunches that are back to back, and the last lunch always getting the short end of the stick.
Isn't that the truth?
Table.
Always.
Yeah, right.
They never get the fries. So yeah, I would say similar to what Shawn and Dru have already stated, the expectations are really important. We as a district have PBIS protocols in place, but my school is also a Leader in Me school. And so we focus on the 7 habits of happy kids and making sure that students are practicing being proactive. And we do our best to acknowledge when our students are demonstrating those habits. And so we have a system where we provide them with blue tickets. We have a store, they go and they redeem those tickets for different items, not just for behavior in the cafeteria, but throughout the course of the school day. I feel, as a former school counselor, when we have our students in very structured environments throughout the school day, they need opportunities to be able to be social. We've talked about the pandemic and how kids were very isolated for a period of time, and now they have opportunity to be able to have discourse with their peers. And so those times are very limited, even though we allow our students to have opportunities to turn and talk in class and things of that nature. I like for them to be able to have opportunities to responsibly engage in dialogue with their peers. So we also have some things in place where, music is on for a short period of time, and we're going to sit and we're going to eat quietly. And again, I'm in an elementary setting. And then music is off, and you have an opportunity to be able to talk to those who are in close proximity to you. So yeah, those are some things that we employ, but I do believe it's an opportunity for the kids to be able to demonstrate responsibility, and we hold them accountable for making sure that the area around them is clean, and that they leave it the same way that they found it. But I also think it's really important that they have opportunities to be able to have some interactions with their peers.
No doubt. Very cogent points. Love it across the board. And this is all about lunch. Those of you joining us out there in Unlock the Middle Land, the topic today is about the cafeteria. So we're going to hit a variety of tidbits throughout this office hour segment on Tuesday nights. Josh, how about with you down there?
Nothing more can be added from what all our team members have said right now, all of the leaders here on the call. But I think that one of the most important things is that the people that sit in our chairs role model the expectations. What do I mean by that? That means that doesn't matter who or what you are, is that you roll around with a trash can like I did, and you pick up the plates that kids leave behind. That you respectfully call the kids back and say, hey, help me out with that plastic bag. But that you also bend down and pick it up. That if there's a spill and the custodian's on the other side, that you go get the mop and you mop it up. And you know what? I've run into administrators who feel that that's, for whatever reason, my term, below them. No, You're setting the tone in there. You are. And by walking around, whether it be in my suit, whether it be in my school polo shirt on Friday, is that you're setting the expectations for everybody, including our team members in the classroom, because they need to know that when you're walking out of the cafeteria to the hallway and you see some trash, there we go. and you pick it up. Because then the other the adults need to see us as kids as role models of picking up trash. And you can have those little kind of tongue-in-cheek comments like, "Hey, I ain't your mama. Help me pick this up." And you have those conversations because that's when you start connecting with kids. Because you know what? Kids don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And if you're able to connect with them on that level and they see you as doing the same job that you're expecting of them, then you know what? They're going to walk on fire for you, and your school culture will be a home run each and every last day.
That is 100, Drew. The word facts. Yep. Nailed it. I think that, as I sit down and look at this structurally, the only thing I can add is I've actually got a little bit of a dilemma. We've got our counseling staff in there, my assistant principal, Mike Tucker, myself, we're always in there. Our school psychologist is always in there. We know the kids at a very intimate level. We set those expectations. Our issue is a scheduling issue. We've got 4 grades 5, 6, 7, and 8. Lunches don't happen sequentially in terms of grade. 8th grade always has the last lunch. It's just their rite of passage. I'll schedule everything else the way I can. But we go 20-minute lunch, 20-minute lunch, 20-minute lunch, 20-minute lunch. No turnover in between. The kids are in, they're out, next group comes in. So managing that. We still have a little bit of an elementary experience, though. We still have a recess. We've got exit doors that head out to the patio and a basketball court in the front driveway of the building. So kids, as soon as they're done eating, we usually gauge the environment and say, okay, we can open the doors. Some of you guys go out, some of you guys stay in. And that's where we do the modeling, Josh, and we'll do the hustle. Back at a former school of mine, Oak Middle School in Shrewsbury, we had very large classes, about 500 to 550 kids per grade. And the lunchroom was an essential hub for us to connect with kids. But what we did in order to flip those lunches, and I'm considering that for this fall, is we, by homeroom, just assigned students 1 week of, we called it Waitron duty, where somebody was responsible for the table washing, somebody was responsible for the sweeping, somebody was responsible for the dustpan and broom at the end of lunch, and a few other duties like organizing the trays for the CAF staff and the like, so they were stacked properly. And the kids rotated that responsibility. And what we saw over time, much to everyone's point, that modeling, that routine, that structure, the cafeteria was really clean by November, especially when the 8th graders were following the 7th grade, because they had no problem going down to those 7th grade homerooms saying, you guys left us in the lurch. Our school, you need to take care of business.
Hey, you know what, Chris? I'd just like to add one thing to that if you're having food fights in your school, if you're having fights in your cafeteria, in the lunchroom, food fights in the lunchroom, fights in the cafeteria, you know whose blame that is? The main chair. For not being proactive and not creating a positive culture. Shawn and I came from schools of over 2,500 kids. And let me tell you, that's exciting stuff. That's something else right there. And that's, It doesn't matter, 2,500 or more for Shawn, who had like around 3,000 or 1,000 or 300. If there's problems in your cafeteria, it all starts and ends alpha and omega with the main chair.
Absolutely. It all begins and ends with those in leadership roles. And, the important piece there, as soon as folks start pointing fingers and wondering why people just don't get it, it's because they haven't heard the message. They haven't felt the message. And that falls on us. You're 100% right, Josh. Last thoughts coming around the screen. We're coming up on our 20-minute mark. We're going to hit Shawn. Advice for educational leaders who are in the area. What do you got for them? 30 seconds or less.
I just say, if you've got the desire to work with kids, this is the job to be in. And I believe my entire mission and mantra for everything I do is that everything you do is dependent on doing what's right for kids. So every decision is about doing what's right. If it's not right for kids, don't do it. If it is right for kids, get out there and fight for it.
Dr. Drew.
I would say that a boat in the harbor is safe, but that's not what boats are for. So get out there and explore and be bold and be innovative. This is the year for it.
Love it. Dr. Odom.
So Trying to do it succinctly. Never feel like you have to rush to judgment. Know what you hold tight, whatever your core convictions are, and make sure that you don't compromise or waver, and always be an advocate for those who are under your leadership.
Brilliant. Joshua.
Simple. You wanted the chair. You begged the Lord to go for a second interview in front of the superintendent. You wanted the chair. You can't complain about putting in the time. You begged for the second interview. You wanted to be called. You put in interviews and you did all those hours, all those papers. You can't complain about putting in the time.
Love it. My little tidbit is consistently respond to questions and requests with why not. Convince me why your idea is not a good one. I will find the resources for you to make it happen. Much like what Dru said, the harbor's a great place for ships, but it's not what they were meant for. Ideas are meant to be spread, not kept inside. Look into your staff, acknowledge what they've got, bring their things to the forefront, and make it great. Well, hey, we are out of time, Shawn, Dru, Kim, and Josh. Thank you so very much. Stay on the air once we end our stream. Those of you in Unlock the Middle Land, thank you so much. Sheikha, thanks for chiming in with all of your commentary tonight. It's super appreciative to see our viewership participating and chiming in. Everybody be well. Enjoy the week. Ooh, what do we got coming up on Thursday, Josh?
Don't forget, we got the Red Zone coming up at 9 p.m. Eastern this Thursday. Join us together where we have another group of administrators coming together. And what will we discuss? We'll tune in and see. This Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern, because you know what? We're only growing stronger together.
Brilliant. Have a great night, everybody. Be well, be strong, and just keep on chugging. Talk to you all very soon.